Christmas is a magical time when you're a child, the center of your calendar year. As you get older and experience the grind of the real world, Christmas is still a fond memory, but the wonder has taken a back seat to reality, work, relationships, and people.
I'm on my fucking lunch break, okay?
It's all part of growing up, I guess. But even as an adult, occasionally, very rarely, something can come along and recapture that feeling of what it was like when you were a child. That recently happened to me, and during Christmas time no less. Star Trek Discovery was removed from the original Star Trek timeline. Okay, it wasn't as major as my hair growing back or that lottery ticket hitting.
I don't even need the full Powerball. All I need is 50 grand.
But money and vanity aren't the only things in life, in spite of what the corporate media reinforces.
Yeah.
There are intangibles, like consideration for others, kindness, contentment, an inner peace that comes with knowing some small corner of the universe has healed.
This house is clean.
Now, I admit I didn't watch Discovery that much. Although it was cool to see a new Star Trek show with modern production design, several things about the show turned me off from the very beginning. 1. Swearing.
You mean the profanity?
Yeah.
That's simply the way they talk here. Nobody pays any attention to you unless you swear every other word.
Star Trek isn't a CW Mean Girls, Kardashians, Housewives of Hollywood.
He was an idiot.
Or is it?
This conversation's over. You're dismissed.
I'm not interested in seeing swearing in Star Trek. I mean the occasional, damn them, Jim, or Scotty, where the hell's my warp drive?
What the hell?
But in general, cursing out of frustration and anger isn't really something you see from the professionals in the Star Trek universe. They're dealing with situations and being adults about it. I admit I curse, everybody curses, but Star Trek is aspirational, and we're trying to see the better nature of ourselves in that show. Watching people curse like junior high school students at recess doesn't do it for me. Shows you don't really know what the show is about. 2. The dystopian setting.
My father taught me from the time I was a little girl still clutching a blanket that the United Federation of Planets is the most remarkable institution ever conceived.
I'm not interested in seeing a fragmented federation. There can be drama in it, there can be castle intrigue, so to speak, in a show that takes place in the Federation, but I'm not interested in seeing a show where the tone and outlook and foundations of it are aspirational, dragged into where so many other science fiction universes and properties have gone, where everything is dark and dystopian. That's not Star Trek. 3. The Klingons. What the hell did you do to the Klingons? I know they're supposed to be able to change, but if anything, shouldn't they look like this? 4. The constant insubordination.
Mr. Hobson, you will carry out my orders or I will relieve you of duty.
Yes, occasionally in the original series, in Star Trek Next Generation, in Deep Space Nine, there are moments where a crew member disobeys an order. But it's a significant moment in the show because it's rare. Part of the beauty of Trek was people from all walks of life working together, in a hierarchy, carrying out tasks. The constant bickering, insubordination came with the price, and was beautifully shown in an episode of Next Generation where Data reprimands Worf.
Lieutenant, I am dissatisfied with your performance as first officer.
May I ask in what way?
You continually question my orders in front of the crew. If you do not feel capable of carrying out this role, I will assign it to Commander LaForge and return you to tactical. I would not enter it into your record as a reprimand, simply as a transfer.
I would prefer to remain at my current post.
Then I expect you to conform to the guidelines I have laid out.
Aye, sir.
Dismissed.
You cannot have a ship and crew functioning when you have insubordination carried out to this extent. It undermines the drama of the show because it makes it look unserious. TOS and TNG both came across very grounded because there was a way in which the ship operated, in which the characters and their ranks interacted with each other. And if you couldn't handle that, then maybe you weren't fit to be on the ship in the first place. 5. The constant bickering. The constant bickering was beyond tedious, and coupled with the self-righteousness of Michael Burnham, I found the show impossible to get into. And then there's the crying. And not to be a totally sour grape, I did like the design. And I thought Anson Mount was a good choice to play Captain Pike, even if he couldn't keep his social media mouth shut. Dude, what are you, a teenage mean girl? In real life, he comes across like another Rachel Zegler. At least she's an actual teenager. I know she's actually in her 20s, but studies have shown recent generations of people are taking a lot longer to mature. And lastly, I thought Tig Notaro was an interesting choice for engineer. She has a good, weathered screen presence that I like in an actor. Grounded, like Harry Dean Stanton, Jeffrey Lewis, Warren Oates, or Frances McDormand. But the way the character was written, she was overwhelmed by snarkiness and came to personify the insufferable insubordination that I previously referred to. And overall, the show seemed like a great example of a production made by people who really didn't understand or have an appreciation for the original source material. For years now, I felt like I just didn't connect with any of it. Current Trek, Kurtzman Trek, I just didn't like. This show and the movies, the way they were being made, I felt like I didn't leave Trek. Trek left me. Maybe it's that I'm getting older, more cynical. Trek spoke to our common humanity, and the rampant greed and anger of people today makes common humanity seem like a distant memory. Like a Norman Rockwell painting, a nice idea whose time has passed. And as a result, I find myself watching the older shows and getting drunk on member berries. But then, in our darkest hour, Christmas came. This is no guarantee that future iterations of Trek will be any good, but at least for one Christmas, things seem to be right with the world. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thanks for clicking in.